federal administrations change. And so the hard part is it's always a tough educational process because you have many states in the United States that are represented by Congress or Senate. They don't have tribes in their states. And so, again, it's a continual process trying to make sure that they're aware of our history, they're aware of our needs, and they're aware of the promises that this federal government made, years ago around some of these big issues that, that we need to take care of our people.
Welcome to Module 2 of the course, Introduction to Tribal Consultations. By the end of this module, you will be able to summarize the historic and legal foundations underpinning the development and role of tribal consultation today, as well as the executive policy requirements for conducting tribal consultation. The Constitution and early Supreme Court cases formed the initial foundation for the government-to-government relationship between the United States and tribes by recognizing tribal inherent sovereignty that existed before the United States and still exists today. As noted in Module 1, fundamental principles such as sovereignty and the nation-to-nation relationship between the federal government and tribal nations are introduced in the Understanding Tribal Treaties and Reserved Rights training course. If you have not already done so, we strongly encourage you to take that course. The overall concept, importance, and practice of tribal consultation is built on those fundamental principles. Therefore, they are essential for you to know and understand as well. In addition, many consultations may include discussion of tribal treaties and reserved rights.
Since that time, both federal law and executive policy have continued to build on that foundation in support of tribal self-determination, autonomy, and cultural preservation. Today, there are over 570 federally recognized Indian tribes and Alaska Native entities. Consequently, having a formal process and policies for federal engagement with such a large and diverse group of tribal nations is more important now than ever.
These are the executive policies currently in place to provide direction and guidance to agencies. Presidential Executive Order 13175, Consultation and Coordination with Indian Tribal Governments, was issued November 6, 2000. Presidential Memorandum on Tribal Consultation was issued on November 5, 2009. Presidential Memorandum on Tribal Consultation and Strengthening Nation-to-Nation Relationships was issued on January 26, 2021. Presidential Memorandum on Uniform Standards for Tribal Consultation was issued on November 30, 2022.
Presidential Executive Order 13175, Consultation and Coordination with Indian Tribal Governments, states that when a federal agency is making rules, decisions, or comments on laws that may affect tribes, the federal-tribal relationship, or the distribution of power between the federal government and tribes, the agency must conduct formal government-to-government tribal consultation with tribes. It further requires federal agencies to engage in regular and meaningful consultation with tribal governments. This executive order aims to respect tribal sovereignty by involving tribal leaders in policy development and actions that affect their nations. On issues relating to tribal self-government, tribal trust resources, or Indian tribal treaty and other rights, each agency should explore and, where appropriate, use consensual mechanisms for developing regulations, including negotiated rulemaking. Executive Order 13175 also requires agencies to have their own tribal coordinators and consultation policies. Within your particular agency, you are expected to become familiar with both.
The Presidential Memorandum on Tribal Consultation states that agencies are charged with engaging in regular and meaningful consultation and collaboration with tribal nations in the development of federal policies that have tribal implications and are responsible for strengthening the government-to-government relationship between the United States and Indian tribes. It further emphasizes that failure to include the voices of tribal nations in formulating policy affecting their communities has all too often led to undesirable and, at times, devastating and tragic results. In contrast, Meaningful dialogue between federal officials and tribal leaders has greatly improved federal policy toward tribes. Therefore, consultation is a critical ingredient of a sound and productive federal-tribal relationship.
The Presidential Memorandum on Tribal Consultation and Strengthening Nation-to-Nation Relationships emphasizes the importance of honoring tribal sovereignty and including tribal voices in policy discussions. It also reaffirms the principles of Executive Order 13175, directing federal agencies to create detailed plans for engaging with tribal nations in order to strengthen the nation-to-nation relationship and ensure that tribal leaders have input in decisions that impact their communities.
The Presidential Memorandum on Uniform Standards for Tribal Consultation establishes uniform minimum standards to be implemented across all agencies regarding how tribal consultations are to be conducted. The President issued the memorandum in response to input received from tribal nations regarding how the tribal consultation process can be improved and streamlined for both tribes and federal participants, and to ensure more consistency in how agencies initiate, provide notice for, conduct, record, and report on tribal consultations. Note, however, that it only provides baseline standards. Consequently, agencies are encouraged to build upon these standards to fulfill the goals and purposes of Executive Order 13175, consistent with their unique missions and engagement with tribal nations on agency-specific issues.
In addition to these executive policies, here are some examples of federal laws requiring consultation with tribes. This list is not exclusive. National Historic Preservation Act, NHPA, requires federal agencies to consult with tribes when their projects may affect historic properties of significance to tribes. National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, mandates consultation with tribes on environmental impacts of federal projects. Archaeological Resource Protection Act, ARPA, ensures that tribes are consulted when archaeological resources on tribal lands are at risk. Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA, requires consultation with tribes regarding the treatment and repatriation of Native American human remains and cultural items. We encourage you to work with your legal department to further understand the implications of these executive policies and applicable laws. In preparation for this course, we engaged tribal leaders and received feedback on why consultation is important and how it can be improved.
Tribal leaders stated that consultation is crucial for respecting their sovereignty, protecting their rights, and ensuring that federal actions benefit rather than harm their communities. Listening to tribal voices and including them in policy discussions builds trust and strengthens the nation-to-nation relationship.
The United States, people in not just legislative office, but also administrative positions, need to remember that the tribal nations are the first and best partners. We're not the last partners. Don't come to us at the very last and ask us what we think. We should be the best partners the United States have. And we can be and are. And some of those relationships that have been very effective, as speaking on behalf of the Shawnee tribe, is with the U.S. Forest Service, particularly in Region 9. And part of that is also because they hire natives. And so there's natives within that organization that connect them to the tribal nations. And it's important that the tribal nations are spoken to because we're the governments of the indigenous peoples that are original to this country. To not tokenize our citizens and try to talk to an individual native to get the native perspective. Go to those nations because this is a government-to-government relation. This is not about consulting minorities.
In terms of improving consultation, tribal leaders stated that consultation should occur early and often, i.e., as soon as an agency identifies a project, policy, or regulation that may potentially impact tribal lands, people, programs, or rights. These same tribal leaders indicated that, in their experience, tribal consultation frequently occurs late in the decision-making process or after a federal decision has been made.
So I think some key steps as it relates to tribal consultation for federal employees is to not go into the consultation with a predetermined decision already made. I have been part of many conversations with federal employees that have been labeled as consultation, where a decision was being made, had been made already, and the consultation was just to check a box that needed to be checked because of an executive order or even a statute. And for us as Indigenous people, that's not something, that's a waste of our time. If there's a decision that's already made, just do it. Don't waste our time. But what we really want to see is a relationship, a meaningful relationship. And I think that that's the foundation of consultation, is to have a relationship. And that means that there's ongoing communication, ongoing dialogue. It's not just a one-time meeting. It's not just a one-time event, but it's something that's happening on an ongoing basis. And that if an agency is going to be making a decision that impacts a tribe, and they know they're going to be making that decision, they should, as early as possible, be reaching out to the tribal government, letting the tribal government know, and informing the tribal government and allowing the tribal government to provide its opinion and work together as closely as possible.
Additional feedback included a request to adhere to the requirements of the Plain Language Act. Specifically, the government should use plain, declarative language in the development of federal regulations, policies, and other written documents. Using unclear legal language may create barriers for participation. Plain language helps create equity and engagement in consultation. In addition to this tribal leader feedback, agencies should also be mindful that consultations require a significant number of resources and effort on the part of tribes. Agencies should engage in regular, meaningful, and robust consultation with tribal officials. Agencies should also be thoughtful and strive to make the consultation process efficient and not overburdensome. This can include considering joint agency consultation on matters where agencies need to consult on same or similar issues, and giving tribes ample time in the process to provide feedback.
And a good thing to do is partner with other federal agencies in your area to find out if they have any consultations that they may have, so that you can coordinate it with them and they can come to, kill two birds with one stone, because not all tribes have resources to travel all over and attend every consultation for everything happening in the United States. So be mindful that not every tribe is loaded with resources to travel and attend them. So think out of the box on ways to coordinate that effort with other federal agencies.
In support of this, the White House Council on Native American Affairs, WHCNAA, created the Best Practices Guide for Identifying and Protecting Tribal Treaty Rights, Reserve Rights, and other similar rights in federal regulatory actions and federal decision-making. This Best Practices Guide identifies a list of fundamental principles for agencies to consider when creating their own tribal consultation policies. Because this course can't cover each agency's policies, you are expected to reach out to your agency's legal team and tribal liaison to learn more. Additionally, DOI's Bureau of Indian Affairs has created a helpful webpage that includes information and resources for federal employees who participate in consultations. You can find it at BIA.gov and choose Resources from the Consultations menu. There you will find the Regulatory Affairs and Collaborative Action, RACA, Best Practices Guide, which provides agencies with guidance and strategies for effective consultation. It emphasizes the importance of building trust, being transparent, and ensuring that tribal input is integrated into the decision-making process.
In this module, we have covered the historic and legal foundations underpinning the development and role of tribal consultation today, as well as the executive policy requirements for conducting tribal consultation. As a federal employee, you should now be able to summarize the historic and legal foundations underpinning the development and role of tribal consultation today, as well as the executive policy requirements for conducting tribal consultation. In Module 3, We will discuss the roles and responsibilities of agencies in conducting tribal consultations.